Died suddenly. That's a phrase we've all become too familiar with, and it looks like it struck its next victim. The Gateway Pundit reports that a horrifying mid-flight emergency as a passenger dies after liters of blood come out of his mouth and nose. We have this shocking story and so much more coming up on the Gateway Pundit's Week in Review. My name is Elijah Schaffer, and our top story today comes from Jim Hoff, who reports this gruesome turn of events as we're finding blood clots and literal explosions of blood bursting forth from a patient's face on a plane. This is absolutely insane. A disclaimer: the content provided includes details of horrific incidents that may be disturbing to some readers. Viewer discretion is advised. In a chilling incident aboard Lufthansa's Airbus A380, passengers witnessed an unimaginable horror as a man tragically died mid-flight from Bangkok, Thailand to Munich, Germany. Swiss couple Martin and Karine Missfelder, who witnessed the event, recounted the traumatic experience to Swiss-German news outlet Blick. Karen Missfelder, a 55-year-old nursing specialist at the University Hospital in Zurich, spotted the ill passenger upon boarding the Airbus for the scheduled 11:40 departure. Here's the couple. She noticed that his alarming symptoms, including cold sweats, rapid breathing, and an apathetic demeanor. Although the man was clearly in distress, a condition his Filipino wife linked to the rush to make their flight to Bangkok airport, he was permitted aboard. The decision came after a quick assessment by the pilot and a makeshift examination by a 30-year-old Polish doctor, also a passenger who gave the green light after a brief evaluation. However, the situation quickly escalated as the passenger began to spit blood, a dire condition that worsened rapidly, culminating in a horrific scene where liters of blood poured from his mouth and nose, according to Martin Missfelder. They then gave him a little chamomile tea, but he already spit blood into the bag that his wife held out for him. And he keeps spitting into the bag, and finally a gush of blood comes out of his mouth and nose, and it was absolute horror. Everyone was screaming. The man lost liters of blood. The walls were also full, the news outlet reported. The cabin is thrown into chaos with passengers screaming and flight attendants scrambling to manage the situation. Efforts to resuscitate the man were described as amateurish by Karen Missfelder, who lamented the lack of professional medical intervention on board. Despite these attempts, the man was pronounced dead, leading the aircraft to return to Bangkok. Martin expressed his frustration with the lack of assistance from both the airline and airport personnel, highlighting the insensitive treatment of the deceased's wife, who was left to navigate customs procedures on her own. Nobody looked after us. We waited 2 hours. There was no care team there, nobody. We all had to go to a counter where we received a 10-franc voucher. The wife stood there all alone and apathetic and had to endure all the formalities. The fact that Lufthansa had no measures in this case, that no one cares about the ground around 30 traumatized passengers around, is unacceptable. Lufthansa has confirmed the death, but has stated no further details regarding the incident. It is absolutely insane when we look at the details, the fact that nobody wants to explain why we currently have become accustomed to soccer players, or in some countries, as they call it, football, dying on the field, healthy individuals, TV anchors passing out, and men rocketing blood like a fountain of youth, but a horror reversal, killing him as he sits on the plane. What a disaster. It's not only disgusting, but traumatizing for the wife. How could somebody expect to be in a recovery or even get over something like this when there's not even a single person to help? Shame on these airlines. Shame on the individuals that are responsible for this. And though I will not make any claims, we all know why this stuff is happening. Speaking of strange things, CNN is in free fall. Our next story comes from the idea here that CNN cuts to commercial as Wolf Blitzer appears to be in physical distress. CNN cut an abrupt break Thursday evening after a network host, Wolf Blitzer, appeared to be physically distressed during an interview on his nightly show, The Situation Room. Network producers cut away from the 75-year-old as he spoke to Democrat Representative Jamie Raskin of Maryland about the U.S. Supreme Court's decision to take up the case of former President Donald Trump and those attempting to deny him the 2024 ballot access. Initially, it appeared as though Blitzer had to labor for a breath. As Raskin spoke for several moments, the CNN host appeared to be in some form of physical discomfort. 70 seconds after Blitzer first appeared in a state of distress, His producers cut Raskin off and shifted immediately at a pre-recorded network promotion about Jake Tapper, special regarding disgraced former vice presidential and presidential candidate John Edwards. The promo was cut short as CNN's Paula Reed quickly took the reins of the show, saying Wolf had to step away. Watch Wolf Blitzer's face carefully as he goes in some sort of physical distress. We have the original video here. It is bizarre, I will say. I've become accustomed to this madness. It's about 1 minute and 21 seconds. We won't watch the whole thing, but check it out. Here it is.
Basically making the point that, Trump might be disqualified from holding office, but he's not disqualified from running for office. And if he were removed from the ballot in Colorado, as the Colorado Supreme Court found he should be, Congress might act in the meantime to exercise our 2/3 authority to remove the disability from Donald Trump. Now, that's obviously an extravagant hypothetical because we know there's not a 2/3 majority in Congress to remove his insurrectionist disability. But nonetheless, it's a fair legal point, and I do think the conservatives are congregating around it. If you do want to base this decision on hypotheticals, however, hypothetically, the state legislature could still...
We're here to get your side of the story. Affairs.
I'm Paula Reed in Washington. Wolf had to step away. He'll be back. But there's other news we're following here in the Situation Room. Far-right media personality Tucker Carlson.
Wow. Okay, well, that doesn't look like that went well. Why are people having these on-camera freakouts? It seems more common than you would think. In other news, James O'Keefe infiltrated a secret illegal alien compound in Tucson, Arizona, and was threatened with arrest by the Gestapo sheriff's deputies. Our next story from Jordan Conradson says that O'Keefe Media Group's James O'Keefe on Wednesday released a new video footage from his investigation in a secret illegal immigrant housing facility in Tucson. Of course, more than 10 million illegals have been let into our country, transported, and clothed and housed at your expense. I hate when they say the American citizens, your expense, my expense. We are paying for this. It's absolutely amazing. But that's not the top story. Well, they threatened an American citizen with arrest for trying to expose their illegal activities, reminding you it is illegal to expose illegal activity. It is illegal to be a journalist. It's illegal now, right? To do what's correct, to do what's lawful. It's insane. But it's not just him. In a more shocking turn of events, it looks like even more nonsense from the federal government. 2 U.S. members of Congress were denied access to the secretive, federally funded migrant facility for oversight of taxpayer funding. Earlier this week, journalist James O'Keefe of O'Keefe Media Group visited Ramada Inn by Wyndham, converted to a migrant housing facility that is reportedly being run by the Casa Elitist program in Tucson. According to O'Keefe, buses were coming in with new migrants every 15 minutes, including during his interrogation by a Prima County Sheriff deputy. Now, during the interaction, O'Keefe disclosed that he had an undercover inside the facility. It was reported by O'Keefe that there was a makeshift room in the hotel with over 150 cots. Now, the reporting caught the attention of U.S. Representative Tom Tiffany, who sits on the House Judiciary and Resources Committee, as well as Doug LaMalfa. During a trip to Arizona, Tiffany and LaMalfa decided to visit the same facility. Upon arrival, Representative Tiffany identified himself as a member of Congress on the Natural Resources Committee to an individual working at the hotel. Representative Tiffany said that he wanted to stop in and take a look at how the place is operating because he understands that you have a lot of migrants coming through here. But he was denied access because, unfortunately, we're not allowed to let anybody that's not employees or staff in. Now, that's ridiculous. This is a government-funded program, and the government is not allowed in. What the hell is going on here? What kind of madness is happening? And I know I usually go through 5 stories, but I kind of wanted to end with a little rant here rather than a objective story. We have citizens on planes, and if the doors aren't blowing off mid-flight, and if the plane can take off safely and get back on the ground, you have to worry about passengers projectiling blood. And if you happen to be married or the family members of those ones projectiling blood or passing out, good luck on being consoled. This is a life where you are left on your own. So hopefully you can vote in a rigged election so that you can pay taxes so that it can be stolen from you, your own birthright, as an invasion is sanctioned by the greatest and most evil powers, funded by banking cartels and NGOs from Eastern influence. These people are sick. and they expect you to sit back and just take it. Well, I'll tell you what, where I come from, we don't take rape very kindly. Especially, we don't take it when it's happening to ourselves. We typically take the lives of people who seek to rob us and to pillage our lands and take away what belongs and what we cherish in our lives. So if you're sick and tired of this as I am, please leave a comment below. Let me know what you think we should do about this, not migrant crisis, but sanctioned replacement that is happening in Western countries. I'll be damned if there isn't a revolution at some point, or at least some sort of a coup. If you thought January 6th was an insurrection, well, they'll be wishing that was exactly what's going to happen, because this government has got to be held accountable at some point. We're not sanctioning violence. We're not calling for that. I'm just saying I wouldn't be surprised if something like that did happen, because enough eventually will be enough. My name is Elijah Schaffer. Thank you so much again for watching another episode of the Gateway Pundits Week in Review. Have a great rest of the week, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.